Well, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another week with the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And listen, it's been a pleasure. The young folks gave me an opportunity because of our guest this evening to do this show, and I really felt compelled to, step up and want to do it with our guest tonight, because there's some things going on in and around the west side of Chicago that I felt compelled that I really wanted to talk about tonight with this guest. And I'm going to introduce him to some and present him to others, and then as we get to that, I want to just tell you all who are watching tonight, listen, this is a beautiful day. We want to thank all of the youth council members out there who's producing the show. I want to thank Amari. I want to thank Mike. I want to take, and I don't want to mess up her name, Estrella, that's it. And all of the other folks who've been so helpful in making things happen around here at the studio. But listen, we really want to talk specifically about what's going on in the community. You know, the weather's changing.
Yes, it is.
When the weather changes, people kind of lose their mind. I don't know what happens, but I think the weather has a way of just making folk get out there and get silly. And so we want to talk specifically about what we can do to try to, reduce some of the senseless violence in our community, provide folks with some safe havens or some outlets that they can go to, bring their families to, and they can probably try to hopefully change the atmosphere and the conditions in their area, create some social environmental changes, and just be a beacon of light for some folks who really believe that that their communities can be better. They don't want to leave their communities. They're vested in their community. So what we're going to talk tonight about, we're going to talk specifically tonight with our guest. Our guest this evening is Mr. Chris Patterson, and he's the program director, I believe that is. Ain't that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the that's the program director for the Institute for Nonviolence Chicago, right?
That's right.
And so you'll get a chance to tell us more about that later on, but you are the director of programs for the Institute of Nonviolence Chicago, and you all are doing some work in the communities, and you'll tell us about all those communities that you guys are working in.
Sure.
But specifically tonight, if we don't mind, Chris, we want to talk specifically about what's going on the west side of Chicago, and what can we all collectively do?
Absolutely.
Collectively.
Yep.
All right?
That's the only way it's going to work. Right. Yep.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
I mean, hey, people ain't got to always agree on everything, but I think we can agree on saving the children's lives.
That's right. That's an easy one.
I think we can do that. It's okay to have difference of opinions.
Of course.
But don't have a difference of opinion on the life of the kids, at the sake of the kids.
Agreed.
Or our children. So, so Chris, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk to you tonight about what's happening on the west side of Chicago and what can we do to help reduce violence and illegal drug use. We heard about what was going on in the neighborhood with the 17 folks who OD'd and the 4 folks that died.
Yep.
So that's too much, right?
It's quite
in the neighborhood.
Right.
So folks are becoming desensitized, traumatized, and that's not cool. All right?
No.
So I'll be teaching these young folks, that's not normal. Don't get caught up thinking that kind of stuff is normal. It's not normal to see folks shooting and killing each other and dying. That's
right.
not normal.
Yeah.
So Chris, what I'd like to do, if you don't mind this evening, I want to talk to you specifically about the topic of what's happening on the west side of Chicago and what can we be doing to help reduce violence. And that's to you all who's viewing tonight. What can we collectively do to help reduce violence? This is our issue. This is our concern. And I think we should literally work together. But we can't work together if we don't trust each other. We can't work together if we don't love each other. We can't work together if we don't believe in each other. We can't do it.
It's real talk.
So folks really got to change the mentality. Listen, it ain't about whatever issues folks may have. Let's keep it simple.
That's right.
Let's save the kids, right? How about that? If we all agree to saving, are you a father?
I am.
So if we agree to save your child and you agree to save my child, then we won't have issues, will we?
That's right.
So
that's the village thought, right?
That's the village thought. Yep. So let's talk about the village now. Let's talk about the village. Listen, you're watching the West Garfield Park Youth Council. Thank you, young folks, for giving me the opportunity to interview Chris tonight. And the number here is 312-738-1060. Again, the number is 312-738-1060. It's on your screen. So, Chris, let's just open it up. And I want to ask you a simple question. And this question is about you personally. I see you in the circles of stuff, and I mean, you be doing a lot. You be out there really. I mean, you got to have a heart for some folk.
Yes, sir.
You really have to have a heart for some folks. Trust me.
No question.
Because there's a lot you have to tolerate to make stuff happen. And some folks don't understand processes. And everything is a process, all right? And
Absolutely.
Some folks just don't get it.
Right.
And sometimes you just got to let folk be who folk are till they get to where they are, So you just got to let, and so I admire you for that.
Thank you.
And my patience, sometimes get thin. And so I'll be like, well, another day, But anyway,
Right.
but I admire you for your patience, man, because it's a challenge, all right?
Yeah.
But keep up the good work.
I'll try.
I'm just telling you
Right.
on the real. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, man.
Because your heart is right. But let me ask this question of you. Who are you, man? Who is Chris? And what motivates Chris?
Yeah. So I think Chris Patterson is like a lot of young people in the communities in the city of Chicago. I've made many mistakes. I grew up in a family that wasn't always together.
Right. Okay.
Disunified, if you could say. Foster homes. Both my parents had addictions, and so that left me, and some siblings, right, kind of like wandering the streets sometimes. So I've known homelessness. I know what it is to be poor. I know what it is to be feel afraid and scared and make bad decisions. Right? So I've spent a number of years practicing those traits.
Okay.
And,
so it's a personal thing with you.
It is a personal thing, and I think that there was a time in my life where I was able to turn it around is because other black men, invested in me. And I think, I had to learn that journey the hard way, and I would like young people to live vicariously through me and people who do the work that I do, and like yourself, so that they don't necessarily have to learn the hard way.
And I like where you was going with that. And the real deal is, young people can't be what they can't see.
That's right.
So if we really want to make an impact in the lives of the young people can read you a mile away.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you ain't real, they're going to let you know it.
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
So
Without
when we're
doubt.
dealing with these folks in the community, they're not kind of robots or some folks from another planet. These are children, man.
Right.
And they're just trying to do certain things that they most times don't know what they're doing. They're trying to associate. They're trying to assimilate. They're trying to get with folks.
It's hard. It's hard to find your way in this world, right?
Absolutely. So they need us.
Absolutely.
And so I want to encourage men who are watching. Next month is Father's Day month, okay? And we want you guys who are fathers and role models to adopt a child.
It's good.
No, one child.
There you go.
No, just get one guy out the neighborhood who all they want is some help, and just grab him and empower him and mentor him and expose him to some resources in the community.
That's solid. Yeah.
Just one. You just do one. Everybody do one for one day. All right? And let's see what happened the next day. But I guarantee you, if we do that the one day, we change the life.
It's beautiful.
But let's go into some questions here. Seriously. Mentor one guy. So what you work for, you're the program director.
Yep.
What is a program director?
So the Institute for Nonviolence Chicago, we started about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Our executive director, Taney Gross, came from the East Coast with the initiative to really bring nonviolence and the concepts of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s nonviolence philosophies. So that meant steps and principles and applying those to gun and gang violence. It was a revolutionary idea. And it's something I would like to say in like 3 years later.
You need to do me a favor too so we can get this clear.
Yep.
And this is the only time I'm going to cut in. Clear this up that ceasefire is different than the Institute so we won't have no misunderstanding.
Well,
Or is it?
Well, so what it is we're a separate entity.
That's my point.
Right. And so Ceasefire and many organizations like it do outreach the same way that we do outreach.
Okay. But this is not ceasefire.
No, we're not Ceasefire.
This is
and I proudly worked with Ceasefire at one point, as did many outreach workers in the city.
But this is not
no,
ceasefire.
we're a separate entity, organization.
The organization is the Institute for Nonviolence, not ceasefire,
That's
right?
it. That's
okay,
it.
but go ahead. You was talking about the Institute for Nonviolence's purpose
Yep.
and mission, right? Go ahead.
Yep.
Please.
So in our organization, we have many programs, right? And so which I'm the director of, and that's outreach, case management, victim advocates. We have community organizers. We have a nonviolence trainers. We're proud host of the Ready program, from the Ready Chicago initiative. We've got initiatives through Chicago Cred that we're working and utilizing in the Austin and West Garfield Park communities. We happen to be located in 3 parts of the city of Chicago, 3 of the 77 communities. So we're in Austin, West Garfield Park, and Back of the Yards communities.
Okay. Austin, West Garfield Park, and Back of the Yards. Okay.
Yeah, and so we're doing a larger collaborative and larger partnerships with a group through Metropolitan Family Services called Community Partnering for Peace.
CP4P.
CP for P,
Okay.
right? Which then encompasses 8 organizations across 9 communities. And those communities extend all the way from Roseland all the way to Humboldt Park and everything in between, Little Village, et
So
cetera.
now, am I hearing you correctly that the CP4P all have the same principle?
Yeah, I think so. The standards. Is
The
what we call them.
standards.
Yep.
And those standards are?
It's just to bring a healthy community together under a public health approach, restorative justice, nonviolence, and a very hypo-local idea of that we need to fix, the problems in our own front yard.
But this is people power, people working together.
Absolutely, yeah.
So folks are actually on the ground.
Oh, no doubt.
Making a difference on the ground.
Absolutely.
So, and you was talking about outreach, case management, victims services,
Yep.
Nonviolence
Trainers
trainings,
and community organizers.
Okay,
Yep.
so these are all services and outlets that are readily available to people. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so the population which we serve those who are likely to be shot due to gun and gang violence. So it's a really high threshold of violence intervention and prevention. And so we work with organizations who do more prevention work. But what we would like to focus on is those who, if we don't intervene.
High-risk folks.
Yeah.
The high-risk folks, right?
And if we don't intervene, then they find themselves.
So you're specific on your focus.
Yes.
And you're targeting a certain group. And the group you're targeting has the propensity to be the victims of or perpetrators of violence, right?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, listen, we got a caller. Caller, thank you so much for calling. Our guest this evening is Chris Patterson of the Institute for Nonviolence. He's the director of programs. Please, what's your comment or question? Hello? Your comment or question, please.
Have you witnessed any violence?
Have you witnessed any violence?
Yeah, in my own personal life, I've seen violence on many levels. And, it's just something that we never get used to, right? And it's something that I would say at the end of the day has brought me closer to this work and wanting to do it.
Are you traumatized?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's hard to see conditions that you see in, I don't want to say like third world countries, but you see in other war-torn areas in our own backyards and not be impacted by that in a negative way.
So it's safe to say that folks out here are actually victims of victimization.
Sure. Hurt people hurt people.
Yep, people hurt people.
Absolutely.
That was good. That's the right one. And folks are literally becoming, I believe, desensitized because the stuff is happening so often that they feel it's just the norm.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
And so I think the good thing about what I'm hearing is that there's services that folks who need these services, and then, by the way, there's awareness center on Madison, a triage center on Madison, 4133 on Madison, who's providing intervention and mental health services.
Okay,
I mean, there's very, very limited mental health facilities on the west side of Chicago.
Well, in
the city,
yeah,
for that matter.
True.
So I think it's really important that those who can benefit or utilize mental health services, which we all need some help sometime, so don't get it twisted. I mean, we all need help.
Right.
We should take advantage of it.
Of course.
So let's get back to the questions you were talking about. And please give us a call here at 312-738-1060. We're talking about what's happening on the west side of Chicago that we could be involved in to reduce violence and illegal drug use in our community. Please don't talk about it as their problem, that's their problem. No. This is our issue, and we need to make a stand. And when real men stand up, little boys sit down. Remember that. What services and/or opportunities are available at the Institute? You just shared this, so these are the only ones, right? This is it.
So what we pride ourselves on is collaboration and partnerships.
There you go.
Right, and so yes, I talked about several services and a couple programs that we have, but we do know that like mental health is an issue, right? And housing are issues, and poverty and employment. And so what we're doing is, and like a lot of organizations are doing, collectively connecting with other organizations that provide that service. So
you're about community stakeholders.
I mean,
it's about collaboration.
Yeah, it's got to be
partnership.
Right.
And if we do that, what can come from the partnerships? What can we expect if people work together, literally?
I think magic happens, right? And so the idea is that, for so long, a lot of our communities look and feel the way they feel because of lack of partnerships, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not even an experiment. For years, people have been doing it. But what we would like to see, and I think what you would like to see also, is it done on a greater scale.
Well, because I'm committed.
Yeah.
I'm sold out, trust me. I mean, I'm so passionate about this thing, I don't rest, literally. This is my life.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't no job. This is what I do, all right?
Absolutely.
So, and I do it because I love what I do, all right? And I'm just vested, you know, so I'm all in or I'm not at all, all right?
Good.
So that's just my nature. But I want to ask this question because this is something that I talked to you about earlier, and you touched me when you said that, and I feel you. I just did a funeral Monday.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to the inaugural because I was called to do a funeral.
Sure.
Then I did a pop-up on Mason where a young guy that I used to pop firecrackers with, do firecracker shows for the kids,
Yeah.
was a victim of violence. And so I've seen young folks, you know, literally who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time become victims of violence. But I asked a question of you earlier. I said, what is the hardest thing that you had to deal with in trying to work with others to promote a safe and drug-free community? And you told me what?
Yeah, I you know, undoubtedly watching the grieving mother, you know, or a daughter or son lose their father way too young at a funeral.
Yeah.
Because they were caught up in a moment in which 6 months from 6 months from now they would have regretted you know, being in it. And it's tragic to watch, you know, that whole scene play out. And it's something I never really get used to, right?
So you said that's the hardest part for you.
It's one of many hard parts.
One of
right?
many.
The work itself is not easy.
Yeah, it takes a
but
lot.
the calling, you know, the reason I think this is not for everybody, just as many professions aren't for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, this is for folks who, like you said earlier, have a heart for the work.
Yeah, many are called, but few are chosen.
That's the thought.
You know,
Right.
Listen, we got a caller. Caller, thank you so much for calling. What's your comment or question for our guest, Chris?
Hi. My
Hi.
question is, why do people commit violence or shoot other people?
Wow.
Well,
Why do people
yeah.
commit violence
Shoot other
and shoot other people? That's deep.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know?
No,
I don't know.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, these are, you know, they're personal choices, right? You know, we don't want to take away from accountability, but there's many reasons, you know. The question that we're thinking about on a deeper level is not only why do people shoot each other, but we also want to know, at that moment that happened, why weren't they at work? Why weren't they in school? Did they have stable housing? You know, and I look at communities that are sustainable and prosperous, and I see that you don't see a lot of poverty, you don't see a lot of unemployment, you know. And so my dream, and I think the dream of all of us who do this work, and especially at the Institute, is if we could provide some level of sustainability and support for the people we work with, we believe violence drops, right? Love, passion, support are, you know, key ingredients to grow healthy people.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Thank you, caller, for that comment. So let's get back to it. You know, we've been working together for a while, and there's an initiative that we work on that's directly on the ground.
That's right.
Where we engage the people on the ground. And that initiative is called Light in the Night.
Yeah, right.
What is Light in the Night for our audience here?
Yeah, so Light in the Night is a component of our Community Partner for Peace initiative,
Okay.
CP4P.
Okay.
And inside of that, we have outreach workers, case managers, metropolitan training, MPA, metropolitan.
Family services.
Family services, and then a training academy in which we train outreach in a professionalized manner. The Light in the Night component is one of those four pieces.
Yeah.
And so what we looked across the country at what some successful places were doing, and we found in LA they were doing something very similar to that, where they were reclaiming space, but in a very restorative way. So what we're doing with Light in the Night is across the city for 3 days a week, for 12 weeks, we're having events every week for the months, for those 3 months. We're having
In the summer months.
in the summer months,
The heated
and
months.
We're identifying the hottest, the areas that have the most shootings and homicides. So we're going
The
to
most
those hot
impacted
spot
areas.
That's right. So
Right.
we're going to those hot spot
Yeah.
areas. We're setting up camp, and we're not saying this is our neighborhood, get out. What we're saying is become involved.
Right,
And that's
right.
for everyone. Everyone involved in the violence,
Yeah.
those who are sitting on the benches, those who want to get involved.
So you're not ostracizing.
No, not at all. Everyone
You're
is
including.
welcome. Everyone is
Right.
welcome at Light in the Night activities.
And I've seen over the years that it has been successful.
Yeah, it's
people.
working.
People love people.
Yep.
The people enjoy the fact that folks care about them.
Yeah, that's right.
Folks really want to be involved.
That's right.
And folks, I think the only thing that I think that we might miss the opportunity of is tracking. those folks who just randomly be walking around.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I think that outreach, that's what the outreach do. So the outreach come back and does that.
Yep.
But I was saying that as far as a partner, I think partners should stay out there too,
Right, yeah.
Because the people know you. They feel like they know you,
That's right.
all right?
Yep.
So when people feel like they know you, when they see you, they say,
I know that guy.
I know that guy right there. You remember? Let's get another caller. Caller, you on there because we fired up in here. What's your comment or question?
Hello.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, what is the Crime Victims Compensation Act?
The Crime Victim Compensation Act.
So the Crime Victims Compensation Act, I'm not exactly sure of the finer details of it, but I do know that when people have become victims or their families, what is often left is tremendous amounts, like say bills and support that's needed to happen for those who have passed away, and that's a heavy burden for folks. And I don't necessarily say a burden, but that's heavy on people. And so
it's a cost.
Yeah, no question.
It's a cost.
Our victim advocates at the Institute help the families we work with actually navigate those systems, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
so
an extensive.
But you was absolutely right on it.
Yep.
The Act is associated with the Illinois Attorney General's office.
Yes.
And it provides those families who have been impacted by violence with opportunities for mental health services, for burial services, and things of that nature. So that was a good one, and you're absolutely right. But let me share this with you. On June the 1st, Congressman Danny K. Davis will be doing his annual Fatherhood in the Neighborhood. And we'll be doing it over at the Congressman's office at 2813 West 5th Avenue, forgive me. That's on Madison and 5th Avenue. And we'll have that whole cul-de-sac, that whole area lit up where we'll be giving away resources, doing haircuts, awards, conversation, food. We'll be doing the whole thing. And so that's on June the 1st, and that will be after we return back from the prison. So we'll be taking the young people and their significant others to go meet their significant others.
Oh, that's good.
So we take the children, we take the significant others to go meet the brothers, all right? And then we'll be at the prison talking to the guys there, and we'll have the sisters there talking to the sisters there. And so we'll bond up and stuff, and then when we come back, we'll do this celebration and celebrate fatherhood in the neighborhood. And then on that same day, that event is from 1 to 5. That event that we're talking about is from 1 to 5 at 2813 to 15 West 5th Avenue. Then on that same day, Clerk of the Circuit Court, Dorothy Brown, will be doing the 15, 16, or 17, 18 year expungement summit, which that's a good thing.
Much needed.
That's a good thing, all right? See, everybody got a pass, all right? Yeah. But the beautiful thing about what we're doing here with the clerk is we're trying to let folks know that some of that stuff can be expunged, that it don't have to be a hindrance to, and it's really for people of color. We don't want to victimize bad, but this can hurt. But this is not just for people of color. Right. This is for anybody. All right. If you got a record and you want to try to get your record expunged, it's going to be at Weston House.
Okay.
Weston House, College Prep at 3223 West Franklin, and it's going to be on the June 1st, and the doors open at 8:30 a.m. You have to register, go get your rap sheet. For more information, get in touch with the clerk's office or North Lawndale Employment Network, or over there at the church, Johnny Miller's church, and there's different places. But get in touch with the clerk's office at, they got a number here, 312-630-5200 or 6441, or www.cookcountyclerkcourt.org. And they'll give you all the information you need. And tomorrow we'll be at LaFollette Park. Put the guns down. Faith in Action. It'll be the sixth annual Faith in Action Festival at LaFollette Park, and we'll be doing it in collaboration with the 25th District, bringing folks together at the park to talk about how we can love each other and support each other. Caller, you on the air? Your comment or question, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Why are people afraid to report to the police?
Why are people afraid to call the police?
Yeah, so I don't.
That's deep.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think everyone has their reason. If that is the
that
case.
Because snitches get stitches?
Well, I think
I'm being funny.
Yeah, but it could be. I'm not sure. Right?
I'm being funny.
Everybody. So there's plenty of people who do, and those who don't, I think they have their own reasons. And I think right now, like I work with a lot of great people in the department who are really just trying to change the perception between police and community. So I think hopefully that doesn't stay the same. And
give us the number to the Institute. If folks was trying to get some assistance from you or needed some help, how would they be able to get in touch with some forum?
So they can find us at nonviolencechicago.org. Mm-hmm. Right. And
So this is it. Did I get up here?
yes.
So if they go to the website will show them the different, and that's nonviolencechicago.org. So go ahead.
No, that was it.
So the information is right here for folks if you need additional information. But we want to say thank you all for calling in, and thank you for the support. Thank you for them young folks out there. And we really want to say to you guys for real that there's going to be a lot of things going up, community pop-ups.
That's right.
There's going to be the light in the night events. You got outreach workers. You got case management. You got victims advocates. You got nonviolence training, and you got the Ready program and the Creed program. So there's too much literally out here to say there's nothing out here.
Oh, yeah. No.
So please get in where you fit in and plug in. For more information about the West Garfield Park Youth Council, they meet at on Mondays and Thursdays. Give us a call at 773-287-5821. Listen, it's been fun. It's been a gas. Chris, as always, I want to thank you, good brother, for what you do, man. You know, you're all right with me, Doc.
Yes.
Listen, I'm a passionate guy. I love what I do. I see you love what you do. And as long as we love what we do and we love the people, we can't do nothing but win.
I know.
And we're winners, not losers. So listen, thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you all that you do and all you do it for. And we'll talk to you then. See you next week. Them young folks will be back in the groove. Good night. God bless. And see you when I see you. Thank you so much.